Welcome back, everyone. At 8:30, things are certainly beginning to quiet down a little bit. We don't want you to think by any means that this fire is considered to be out or even under control. They have not labeled it under control right now, but what they are telling us is that at least Mr. Gaffney did just a few minutes ago, that the fire is well on its way to being contained. Apparently, the airdrops from the helicopters and planes that have been on the scene all day, although they have stopped now because of darkness, have had a tremendous impact on stopping this fire from flaring up again. Some of our reporters have been checking in from their various locations, and let's go now to News 12's Sherry Einhorn. Sherry?
We're here at the Southampton Recycling Center on Old Country Road. Now, when we left this place at around 3:30 this morning, the fire hadn't actually even come into the recycling center. And now, if you look just over my shoulder, you can see nothing but a pile of smoking rubbish. And there are firefighters working feverishly just to extinguish it and keep it from lighting up again. Now, joining me is Chief John Bove from the North Massapequa Fire Department. Chief, tell us exactly what's going on here.
What we're trying to do here is contain the fire to prevent it from going into the Pine Barrens. We completely surrounded it with a perimeter of hose lines. When we first got here, the fire was just continually burning. There was a pile of rubble. You can see here that there's still stuff that's still dry. We're trying to put on as much water as we can. The resources are good. The drops have been coming. But as long as we have continuous water and we keep dumping it, we'll be able to douse the fire as best we can.
Now, I'm sorry, with so many fires going on, it almost seems like it might be a waste of manpower and a waste of water.
Not really. It's never a waste. As long as the land is as dry as it is, the manpower is here. We're getting help from Nassau and Suffolk. I'm from Nassau, and this isn't my turf, but we're here to help, and that's what the volunteer system is all about. We're here to help each other.
So the main purpose here is just to keep this fire and the embers from spreading?
Absolutely. The wind seems to have died down, but as long as we keep the water on it, we have payloaders, I guess, from the Suffolk County town. They're providing us with assistance to turn some of this rubble upside down to prevent it from going into the Pine Barrens.
Okay, that's Chief John Bove from the North Massapequa Fire Department. Thanks very much, Chief. Now, we should tell you that although the winds have died down so far, as the evening progresses, winds have been known to pick up, and that does cause a major problem for firefighters. And as we said earlier, the major concern is to keep the embers from spreading into the trees nearby. That's it for now. Let's go back to you in the studio.
All right, Sherry, thanks. They're doing a great job so far. Let's check in now with Walt Kane. Walt joins us with an update from his area by phone. Walt, I know you've been in various locations, so why don't you tell us where you are right now?
Well, actually, Lee, right now I am aboard a fire truck being driven by members of the Center Merchants Fire Department. We are driving to a location where firefighters are said to be looking into a report of some smoldering in an area not too far from a home. This is possibly one of the more serious calls tonight, and that the fact that this one is being treated as one of the more serious calls of the evening is certainly a clear sign that things have quieted down here immensely. In fact, members of the Center Merchants Fire Department tell me they believe that the critical part of this fire was around 3 o'clock when the flames threatened to go across Sunrise Highway and did not. Firefighters were able to split it, and from there they were really able to pound away at it with a ground and air attack. And a couple of big factors, the firefighters here tell me. One, the air assault by those Chinook helicopters dumping gallons and gallons of water onto the flame. That was part of it, but the other part, they say, Mother Nature, which had really fanned these flames with intense winds, suddenly turned and became a firefighter's friend when those winds died down. And thanks to the lack of winds and the dedication of firefighters who staged that ground and air attack for more than 24 hours, it now appears that the fire, at the very least, is on its way toward being contained. In fact, many firefighters here privately say they believe they have turned the corner, and that barring a real surge in winds or something like that, they believe they may be well on their way to having this fire well in hand.
Yeah, are the winds
live? Walt Kane, News 12 Long Island.
Are the winds pretty quiet where you are right now, Walt?
Right now they're very quiet, and it's very still, and that's really a very pleasant experience, because this afternoon when those flames were really whipping across, the wind was raging pretty heavily. You could hear it blowing roaring, and now it's very still. The background noise that you're hearing is the roar of the engine, not the roar of the wind, and that is a much better sign.
You know, Walt, as we're listening to you, we're looking at video of firefighters from the Quorum Fire Department right now going through some of the scorched areas of the pine barrens and wetting down the ground. It must be an eerie feeling at this point for you to be driving through those blackened areas of pine barrens at this time of night when things are pretty quiet and so much of it has been burned away.
Yeah, it is. We've driven along several acres of just scorched out pine barrens, and it's an eerie sight. In one area near the airport, you can see where the flames went across the road and stopped. You can see exactly where those firefighters drew their fire line and where they were able to prevent the flames from going any further. The scorched earth really tells the story of the titanic struggle that has been waged here for the past 28 hours or so between firefighters and the flames. And right now it appears, thankfully, that the firefighters are winning.
Now, you're not seeing anything burning at all around you, not even very small flames, just smoldering and smoking now?
Just some smoldering and smoking, I would say, in the past hour and a half. About an hour and a half ago, we saw small flames, and seriously, very small. Talking about, little bits of hot spots, campfire-style things, but the firefighters very aggressively trying to knock it down. In fact, I'm getting off the truck now. We're walking through some woods in search of the smoldering area, which we don't see. It's not clearly visible for any distance.
These firefighters are in their second night now of battling this fire, although, as you said before, they seem to think that the most critical part might be over. How are they holding up now?
They appear to be holding up very well. I think the fact that they seem to be gaining the upper hand, that they seem to be turning the flames back, that they seem to be perhaps getting this fire close to under control is really energizing them. Not that their morale was ever low to begin with. They really approached this with a lot of fervor, a lot of energy, a lot of commitment, but the past couple of hours, the fact that they seem to be getting the flames under control seems to have given many of them a new life.
I guess, well, I know you're traveling around with one of the fire departments there. If you can possibly describe to us, what they're doing now as they work. I mean, does it involve water? Does it involve digging and shoveling now?
Right now, there are some that are going around doing a little bit of digging and watering, but really, for the most part, it's an inspection process. They're walking along through the woods where there are reports of smoldering, and they're looking at it, trying to see if they can locate anything. If they see it, they do a quick burst from the hose to put it out. But basically, they are driving around the perimeter, driving through the entire fire zone, and looking for anything that might flare up. Right now, there's nothing but some smoldering here or there, but you have to bear in mind, of course, that this whole thing started with what is universally been described as a very small fire near the police training center.
Do they worry at all? You know, we keep hearing warnings. The fire, the Pine Barrens area is so dry that driving a car through it or driving a dirt bike or anything like that can cause something to spark. I know most of the fuel, which they refer to as the dry Pine Barrens, is really all burnt out there. But do the firefighters, take special precautions to make sure that they don't add to that possibility when they're driving through the areas?
I think their primary objective is to get to the area and try to wet it down. As much as possible, they go on it foot. Sometimes they're driving along dirt roads in the engines, but it's kind of a best interest situation. Obviously, they're better off getting to the area to see if they can wet it down rather than not get there. But for the most part, the engines are driving over dirt roads and not over grass itself. Firefighters here right now are on foot going off further into the woods. We're running across a couple of people who appear to be fellow firefighters. They're doing a little bit of digging, trying to clear off a fire lane so that fire wouldn't be able to skip, embers wouldn't be able to skip from one area of fuel to another. And that's really the kind of mop-up operation that's happening right now. Although it appears that the firefighters are winning, they're being thorough because the last thing they want is for this to flare up again. Yeah,
any homes in the area around where you are?
There are a couple of homes near the area, but so far I have to tell you we don't see anything smoldering as earlier reported. It looks all quiet. Firefighters are taking it seriously, but I don't see anything to indicate any threat here.
Is that an area that was evacuated?
This is an area that Well, to be honest, I can't say that categorically because we've wandered off into some back roads. I would suspect it was an evacuated area. Where we were at one point was near the racetrack, and but we've gone through so many twisting and turning dirt roads since then that I can't swear to it. But I believe this was at one point an evacuated area.
Yeah, at night in that area, I'm sure you could lose your bearings there for a little while. All right, Walt Kane, thanks very much for joining us and giving an update from there, an encouraging update as well, although the firefighters do have some work ahead of them. Walt, thanks very much for joining us. I want to give you some basic information now as things begin to quiet down just a little, but we don't want to overemphasize enough that we want to tell you it's not over yet. There is still work to be done, but we are told at least that maybe the fire is on its way to being contained, although it has not been officially labeled contained just yet. But County Executive Gaffney said it certainly is well on its way, that today's efforts just went so far in quieting things down so much. We have a little bit more information for you when we come back. Right now the time is 20 minutes to the hour. We'll be back with more news for you in just a minute. Our live coverage will continue.